Welcome to Enlightenment Unknown Life of a Spiritual Nomad. My name is Wes Coons, and welcome back to the show. Today is a very special day. My friend Liz is here. Say hi, Liz.
Hello.
I've been waiting for you to come on the show for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, huh?
Yeah, it has. So we got our setup. We're trying to see each other as we talk with all the equipment. It's fun. So how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm really good.
Yeah. You know what's cool? We just picked up 30 new countries listening to the show. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's been fun. So I was looking at the statistics this morning and I'm like, wow. All right.
That's cool. Do you ever have anybody reach out from some of these countries?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I had a listener from Spain reach out not too long ago, Samantha, and then local people all the time.
Yeah.
I was out. Where was I at? I don't know. I was at the beach or something this week and this lady comes up. She said, I love your show. And I'm like, thank you.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know who she was. I mean, I did. I recognized her. It's just, we're not friends. So I know we're friends on Facebook and stuff. So that was very kind. Thank you. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a trip. So I remember growing up this weekend, I'm going to spread my brother's ashes, right? And so he used to always tell me to shut up. So I'm like, hey, brother, somebody wants to actually hear me talk. I don't know why, but they do. I don't really know. I don't think we've talked about it. How did your spiritual journey start?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's a kind of a two-part question. It's a young Liz, little Liz, and a 5 years ago Liz, almost 6 years ago Liz. So when I was a kid, I was experiencing a lot of things that I didn't know were quote unquote spiritual, right?
Yeah.
But it was definitely me tapping into certain psychic abilities. So for example, I remember one night looking out, it was dark outside and I was looking out my window and I saw this whole landscape of things, of a place that was really lush and green. And when I looked out there, I asked my mom, what is that? What am I seeing? And she said, oh, that's just a daydream. So I just kind of compartmentalized, oh, it's just a daydream, whatever.
Sure.
And I used to do similar things like looking at the clouds. I would look in the clouds and you look for images, right? But I would look and I would see and I would get messages at the same time. I'd have these understandings come through. And then I remember there was one night that I had been asleep and I woke up all of a sudden and I felt like I needed to go out into the living room. And when I went out there, I could see my mom was on the phone, right? It's when we had the corded phone to the wall, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing there and I couldn't hear her. But afterwards, I remembered I had asked her something. And I a year ago messaged her and I was like, what did I say to you? And she said, you said to me, Nana died. And she's like, that's what I was on the phone about, was they were calling to tell her that her grandmother, my great-grandmother, had passed away. So all of that was happening as a kid in spurts. And I always felt very connected to nature. I always felt very connected to being in my body and feeling different energies, different emotions, just having a big understanding of the world going on around me. And then I kind of put it away.
Sure.
As a kid, I was molested. And so that really shut down a lot of those psychic abilities. But fast forward to about 5 years ago, and I had my daughter. And when I had her, it was a pretty stressful event, as birth can be. But the circumstances surrounding it were really stressful because my husband was at training for the military. And so even though I was surrounded by support, I had a doula, my dad was there. It was still it was a huge moment for me, right? Of transition. And so I had to decide, did I want to have my daughter and then my husband could come home for 24 hours and see her, meet her? Or did I want the potential for him to be there for 24 hours of labor but not meet her? And so I chose to induce my daughter at that time and have her be born so that he could meet her.
Nice.
And I think in doing that, right, I disrupted that process of you're in between the two realms at that point. And it created almost this schism in my body of you're birthing this baby, but that portal is totally open. And so I had postpartum, I had a lot of anxiety happening, but at the same time, all of these abilities that I experienced as a kid came flooding back in. And so my nervous system was like super overwhelmed. Like I thought that maybe I was experiencing psychosis for a moment, but what I now understand is that I was actually hearing my team, hearing my guides talk to me and help me understand what was happening at the time, but I didn't know how to comprehend that. And so it opened up the door, though, for me to find all of the modalities that I use, because my daughter needed craniosacral therapy. And then I experienced Reiki when we moved here to Virginia Beach. And so it was like her birth totally opened up the pathway for me to go down, to be able to do all of these things.
That's interesting how you said that when your daughter was born, this portal was open. I never really thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there is, isn't there? I've never thought about that.
That's right. Yeah, and I've done a lot of contemplation around all of these things opening for me as a kid, especially in connection with what happened when I was molested and it was shut down. That sacral chakra, which is such a healing zone in our body, that energy also got shut down for me in a way, or it got blocked in a specific way. And so when we're birthing children, that sacral chakra is revved up. I mean, that creative life force energy is literally bringing life into the world, right? And so for me, a lot of my psychic abilities come from really fostering and feeding that sacral energy, that life force energy.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, it's interesting. You said everything turned back on when I went through my story with the haunted house. I didn't have gifts as a kid. I didn't have those things. And then all of a sudden, everything was there. Everything was turned on, and I was energetically wide open. So it was quite painful. So I can appreciate that. So do you think postpartum depression is where the energy's just gotten jumbled up or something when the baby's being born?
That's a really good question. I think there's a complex answer for that. I think it's possible. I do think hormonally a lot is happening, right? So we have our baby, but then we also have a massive drop in certain hormones and a massive influx of other hormones that can contribute to these fluctuations. But I also think a larger scale of this is that the support just has not historically been there for families during the postpartum period.
Sure.
Right? So you're experiencing this massive event where you are between realms, and we have in our society, it's becoming less and less in terms of we have more support for families through the birth process, but our process tends to be very controlled. You're going to come in at this time, you're going to have your baby this way, you're going to leave at this time, and we're not going to teach you how to do any of this. I remember being in the hospital and I didn't know how to wash my baby. I asked them to do it for me because I was like, I feel like I'm going to break her.
Yeah.
And so that support is so important. And I know when we don't have that support, we feel lonely, we feel isolated, we feel, that's when we start to feel really depressed or anxious because you're trying to survive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember when Sydney was born, I wasn't with her mom. And then I got to pick up my daughter, and but previous to that, I remember going to the grocery store and just crying. I didn't know what to get, and this lady stopped and helped me, and she picked out all these foods and all this stuff, and I was so grateful.
Yeah,
we're not taught those things. We're not an animal that has that instinct. We have to be taught, and that's right. So much that is lost in our culture.
That's right. I mean, even the concept of, I used to hear a lot when I was pregnant, it's going to be like love at first sight with your baby. I did not feel that way with my daughter. I remember feeling so much shame around the fact that when I looked at her, I didn't love her like I thought I was supposed to.
Sure.
Now, do I love my daughter? I love her so much. And when she was born, she was a stranger to me, right? I didn't know her. I didn't know how to care for her. And also, that new version of myself was kind of a stranger to me too.
Well, did you even know who you were at the time?
No, absolutely not. Do I
Most of
really
us
even know
don't.
who I am today? I
Yeah.
know myself more than I ever have, but
hmm
I also know that I'm still becoming, right? Like,
Yeah.
or I'm not becoming, I already am, but I'm just unfolding like all
hmm
the different layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I looked at your website, it says CST with Liz. What is CST?
Yeah. So it's a funny question because I'm in the process of kind of shifting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I became known in this area for CST, craniosacral therapy. And what I'm changing to is what I call psychic embodiment work. That
Nice.
includes craniosacral therapy, but it also includes other modalities like Reiki,
Mm-hmm.
like mediumship, tarot reading, dowsing.
So for people that don't understand a word, what you're saying,
Yep.
like me right now,
Yep.
so what is craniosacral therapy?
Yeah. So craniosacral therapy is a form of body work. It's
Okay.
very gentle, hands-on technique.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're looking to do, and I want to incorporate craniosacral therapy with craniosacral fascial therapy. What we're doing with both of those is that we're looking at the fascial web, so that connective tissue around the body, but we're also looking at the flow of cerebrospinal fluid as it flows from the sacrum up the spine, around the cranium and back down.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at in the central nervous system how everything's operating with each other. Do we have anything out of balance? Is the flow of CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, blocked anywhere? And can we hold and rebalance? So
Sure.
very gentle techniques. Sometimes it's like I tell people, you're going to think I'm not doing anything. It's going to look like I'm just putting my
Yeah.
hands on you, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling for these subtle waves in your body. And if there's any asymmetry, so for example, if I'm holding the back of your head, your occiput, and I feel one side is able to contract and expand because our bodies are always moving. We're always, even if we feel like we are quote unquote still, we are always in movement. And sometimes one side might be moving more or expanding and contracting more efficiently than the other side. And so with that presence of our hands and with the intention of like what direction these bones are supposed to go, we're asking them to move in and out, contract, expand the way that they're supposed to.
Nice.
Yeah. And what that does is it relaxes the nervous system.
So I do a lot of healing work, and the stuff you're talking about, I'm like, that's crazy. I don't see it that way. I don't feel it that way.
Uh-huh.
So do you think it's something somebody could be taught to do, or
Oh, absolutely.
you either have the gift or you don't?
I think you can be taught to do it. Now, every person who does this type of work has their own flavor, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I'm calling what I do psychic embodiment, because traditionally with craniosacral therapy, you're following a protocol and you're checking, all right, can we move this way? All right, let's go to the next part. Can we move this way? What I like to do is when I'm with a person, I'm asking all layers of their body, their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies, where do you need the most support today? And I might be using craniosacral therapy techniques, let's say at their feet, like I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
a heel pull to provide traction in their spine. But then I also might be needing to use Reiki to help move the energy down and out the bottoms of their feet, right? To get them grounded.
Sure.
And that's why I call it psychic embodiment, is because I'm not only asking their bodies, but I'm asking their team too. Where do they need the most support today? And that's when their guides are going to come in, their angels, their loved ones who have passed. They will help me know where to go. And there are times in a session that I'm like, I had a session the other day that I needed to put very specific stones, crystals on parts that I was like, you want me to put a green stone on their root? Why? What do I need to do? And I just kept hearing, just do it. Just listen to me and do it. And when I did, this person had such a massive shift in their nervous system, but also in the tissues of their body. Like they felt much more relaxed afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they don't ask me for a green stone because I'm colorblind. I'm in trouble. Yeah. No, when I call an angel team in to work with somebody, they're like emergency room nurses. And
Yes.
sometimes the room I've been in is a little small and they're like, we want you farther away. And I've had to leave the room. I'm like, okay, I'll stand outside.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it is like that, right? And that's what I explain to people is at times during a psychic embodiment session, you might feel my hands on you. But then there are going to be times that you don't feel my hands on you. And I'm still there. I'm still working, or your team is working. Like there are moments where I'll be working, let's say underneath somebody's sacrum, and I'm like, oh, I really need their ears to be held right now. And so I will ask their team, can you please go provide some presence at their ears? And it's so wild, the things that can shift when we're working in tandem for the person on the table. But I wanted to get back to your original question of can somebody be taught this? Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah. And we can teach modalities, right? We can teach protocols. And what I'm finding to be very important is teaching how to tap into yourself, your own intuition, how you sense the world around you. I'm noticing a lot of people are starting to come to me in sessions seeking that information. I'm experiencing this. What does that mean? And then we just go into that. We talk more about it.
Yeah, it's fun. The cool thing about the podcast and interviewing a lot of healers in this market, man, I am surrounded by some of the most talented women on the planet. And it is so much fun. So you're so gifted and so beautiful and so talented. And you've lost like 90 pounds, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you walked in the door, I'm like, who's standing here? Good for you.
Thank you very much.
Good for you. We did that healing session with me. I came in and that was crazy. It was beautiful crazy. It was really cool. I don't remember all the details, but I remember you were telling me how you were connecting with the younger version of myself and helping heal things. And those are opportunities I've not seen in healing work. So I thought when you were telling me that was really, really cool.
That was really powerful, actually. It's something that's been coming forward more in sessions. So I noticed that a lot of the healing work I do for myself will start to, and maybe you've seen this in your sessions too, like the people that come in might have been going through or are going through something similar to what you've experienced. And so what I find is that the various modalities that I work through in healing myself, then it's like I can show up in a way to be able to help in that way too. So for example, meeting with your inner child, there was a lot of parts work happening there. And I've been working a lot on parts work for the last 2 years. And so I just approached your inner child the same way that my teacher has talked me through parts work. And it was a really beautiful experience because, are you okay if I share?
Yeah.
Your inner child just wanted to play and eat really good food. Like, I think that you wanted cake. And I was like, yes, let's get some cake. That sounds wonderful.
That's funny. Yeah, because I didn't play as a child. You know, I didn't have friends. So everybody's kind of a jerk. So, you know, it is what it is. But when you said that, it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
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 So how long have you been doing this work?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah. So after my daughter was born, I hit the ground running with trying to figure out how I could help do this work. My daughter had a lot of feeding issues after she was born. So my doula is a craniosacral therapist. And she was like, why don't you come in? Let's just see what's going on. Maybe this will help her. And I went in and it was a life-changing session. Like, first of all, when we got in, we'd already been out like all day. She had her tongue tie released that day, which was really hard to experience. I was super sick, like feverish. And we had maybe a pediatrician appointment or something. So when we got there, I was very tired. And Ophelia was screaming. Ophelia is my daughter's name. She was screaming and she pooped everywhere, like totally out her diaper, up the back.
Oh,
and I had
remember
no
those days.
other clothes. I had no other diapers for her. And I just looked at Molly and I said, what do I do? And she's like, we just make it work. It's fine. And first of all, the peace I felt from that, right? Like, oh, we don't have to leave because my daughter has poop all over her. We can just make this work. I'm supported. So she gave her the session, and afterwards, Ophelia was so relaxed that it brought me the peace that I think everyone deserves to have the entire time after they come home, or if they have a home birth, after birth, right?
Yeah.
Being supported in that postpartum period. And so I was like, I've got to learn what this work is, because that is how
Right.
I want other people to feel. I want to help do that and
That's
provide that.
cool. So what is a doula?
Yeah. A doula is somebody, so there's different types of doula. There's birth doulas, there's postpartum doulas, there are death doulas. A doula is somebody who helps be supportive through a particular process. So, for example, my birth doula helped me through labor and birth, and she checked in on me during the postpartum period as well. When I came here, so I had my daughter in Kansas, and when we moved here to Virginia Beach, not only did I start to learn craniosacral therapy, but I actually wanted to become a postpartum doula so that I could come
Nice.
in and help people during that time transition from birth to postpartum so that they could feel supported. And so for that, it looks like coming in to help clean, take care of the baby, take care of the parents, maybe make some food, just be a presence in the home and help support in whatever way is needed.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine. I think her son Phoenix, well, he's in the Army now, so it's been a minute. And she gave birth in her kitchen in a blow-up tub with water in it.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm like, you're freaking me out telling me this stuff.
No, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really powerful experience to have. I mean, I think every birth is a powerful experience to have, no matter what way it happens.
Well, Big Pharma is in charge of all this stuff, and we don't know any better. We follow what we're told to do, especially in that situation. And as you're talking about this, I'm thinking about when my kids were born. It was so clinical, it was so cold, it was machine-like, and hurry up, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. And we weren't supported, we weren't honored, we weren't recognized. Do you have your credit card, Mr. Coons? I'm like, yeah, here's my credit card, pal. It was that. And so yours sounds sounds more beautiful. So
yeah, it
cool.
was a beautiful experience. It was definitely, it taught me a lot about myself and what I want and what I don't want, right? I mean, I'm happy that I chose to have her so that my husband could see her. I thought that was very important to me, that he had time to spend with her. And in doing that, it's put my body through a process faster than it was ready to be.
Sure.
Which was a lot of stress.
Well, or maybe it was supposed to have been that way because God called you to the table.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. I would not go back and change any of it, because all of it is what opened the door for me to be able to show up in the world the way that I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was reading something the other day, and they were talking about this guy who had 0 gifts, was in a really bad car accident, woke up out of a coma after 3 days. And not only could he speak another language, but he had all these psychic abilities and stuff. And I'm like, I kind of know what that feels like. And you lose your mind a little bit. It takes you a minute. It took me 3 years before I was comfortable in my own skin in this 3D world, you know?
Yeah.
And figuring out, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
And luckily, there was these amazing healers, Sandra Grace and Trinae and Margaret and a few others, and Linda and Kathleen, that were there for me. And because there were so many days I was just white knuckling it. I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can relate a lot to that. I've been thinking a lot lately about the people that have been brought into my life along this journey, and how grateful I am for all of my teachers and all of the friends who have provided safety for me within all of it, to express myself, to share like the knowledge that they've shared with me, but then also just the compassion. I'm learning that compassion is extremely important for me. It's important for everyone.
Sure.
And especially as you're learning or experiencing some of these things that feel maybe foreign, or like, did that really happen? Like, was that a real thing that happened? Being able to express that without being told, like, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. My daughter Sydney, I told you she got engaged, right?
Yes, yeah. I saw the video. It was really beautiful.
Yeah. Abraham, her fiance, Abraham, he likes to go by the name of Bam. Well, my very good friend, Ron, his nickname is Bam. I'm like, dude, we're not calling you Bam, so I call him Abraham. I don't think he likes it. Plus, I also call him Abraham, father of many nations. Every time I talk to him. So
It's very formal.
yeah. And I cannot wait to speak at their wedding because it will be Abraham, father of many nations and many children. I'm just saying,
gosh.
somebody wants grandbabies. So that's cool. Now, do you teach courses? Do you do any of that stuff?
I've been asked that a lot. The only course that I have right now is actually teaching parents how to relax their babies at home. But I've been asked about, well, I say that's the only class I teach, but that's actually not true. I teach Reiki as well.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so I used to teach with my teacher, Tanisha, which I don't know if you've met her, but she is incredible. She has taught me so much. I have like the most deepest respect for her.
Nice.
We used to teach together, and now we are kind of teaching separately, just because we're, schedules get super
life
full.
happens.
And I'm realizing for me that the way I like to teach is very one-on-one. So I teach Reiki, but it's like 1 to 2 people that I teach at a time.
Sure.
Yeah. And there's other areas that I'm wanting to teach in terms of how to connect to your body that will hopefully be coming soon in my office. I'm still kind of formulating
it's a
the
process.
order that I want to do it in.
Good for you. Yeah, that's going to be cool. We talked about that a little bit. I think you're going to be fantastic at it.
Thank you.
You have a ability to connect that is so, I don't even know how to word it. It's just, we talk about unconditional love. We talk about the Christ energy. We talk about those things, but there's this combination of all that you bring to the table that is very, very beautiful. So if you haven't had any work with Liz, we're going to tell you in a little bit how to connect with her, but you definitely should check it out because it's cool. So tell me about what you do to help parents calm their child. What is that?
Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for saying that. That makes me feel good because when somebody comes into my office, it's important to me that they feel safe, but it's also important that they feel held. And I've been told by several people that when they have sessions, it feels to them as if their mom is holding them.
Yes.
And that is one of the biggest compliments that I can receive because I know what it feels like to want to be held by your mom in a loving, tender way, right? And so it's a huge compliment for me. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're making me cry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. As you're talking about that, I could feel my mom come in the room, the crazy, beautiful life that we lead.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, one of the things we've talked about and you've helped me with is we both have been molested as a child.
Yeah.
And trying to heal some of that that's been in the past has been elusive universe. So I'm moving through that. And it's interesting how that event can stick, and other things too.
Yeah.
And I talk about on the show, we can heal in a moment, but this is one of them that I haven't figured out how to heal in a moment. Right?
Yeah. Because I think we heal it in small moments. Sometimes it's big. Sometimes it's big the way that it comes in, right? The way that water rushes in to flow. And sometimes it's a trickle. I just was thinking about that this weekend. I had an experience. I was in Houston meeting my mentor, and she's mentoring me within Tantra work. And one of the events that she hosted was called Brunch and Boobies. And so us women got together and we had brunch and we had our shirts off, right?
Okay.
It's very liberating. It's very freeing. And one of the things that we did was a sacred undressing where we could choose either to do ourselves, like to take our top off ourselves and be very present with our bodies, very mindful with how we approach our bodies. Or we could choose to do that with a partner.
Sure.
And so I chose to do this with a partner. And it was a very special moment for me because when she had taken my top off, she just held my breasts. And I've done so much work, so much healing around my molestation. But this opened up another moment for healing where this woman, this feminine energy is holding me and I'm just leaning back into her and there is a pleasurable experience in that, but it was such a heartwarming, safe experience. So it recoded something in my body that I had already been recoding many times over, right? And
Nice.
I think that's just part of it being a core wound, is that it might not ever go away, but the love and the capacity to forgive and to rewrite the pain that's there will continue to grow and grow and grow.
See, as you're talking about that beautiful experience you went through, I mean, it gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I am 55 years old, and it is difficult. It is very difficult for me to allow somebody to touch me. And so as I sat there and look at, I haven't healed from that experience as a child fully, but a lot of that really is the other aspects of Wes, the unworthiness in the past, attracting women that would throw me in the trash easily. And then Trinae let me know, and she's like, well, where do you throw yourself in the trash easily? I'm like, thanks, Trinae. But the reality is my vibration brought those people in because I did throw myself in the trash. So I think there's different aspects of, I have that experience, that trauma of being molested as a child, and then making bad decisions, or maybe they're not bad decisions, but making decisions, unhealed decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also making decisions, I think it's important to notice that those decisions are also coming from a place that wants to deeply protect you.
Sure.
Right? You are yourself a certain way, probably out of a protective mechanism. That's something I've been thinking a lot about as well, right? Especially as it relates to thinking of the father wounding and mother wounding.
Sure.
How do we relate to masculine and feminine energies based out of our wounding? And that's part of what I realized in that moment too with this woman, as she was just holding me, is like, she doesn't expect anything out of me in this moment. All she wants to do is show me love.
Yeah. She just wants to hold you.
That's right. Yeah. And I've had these protective mechanisms in the past of not trusting that another woman is going to be able to hold me safely. And I've had moments where not trusting that another man is going to be able to be present and safe with me. Right?
Yeah.
So we have to be really compassionate to those parts that come forward that are anxious, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that are scared and that are maybe pissed off. They're all very valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's lots of moving parts, right? And one of the things I see in the healing world, in this healing journey, is the lack of men that participate. I know one of the frustrations Andrea always had is, how do we connect with the men? I'm like, girl, I don't know how to connect with the guys. I can talk to my buddies and they're like, yeah, man, fucking okay, I'll be a man. I'm like, I am being a man. I'm healing the trauma and the stuff, and I'm changing my life, and I'm showing my children that I can do different. And if dad can be different, they can be different.
Yeah.
And Sydney follows right behind me. I remember the day I got the phone call from her, and she said, I've watched you do all this hard work and change, and I want that too.
That's right.
I think I could leave her $1 billion, or I could teach her how to love herself.
That's right.
I'd rather teach her how to, well, maybe both. She'd probably be like, I can take both.
Yeah. Well, and also you can show her how you love yourself.
That's right.
Right. Because this is something recently that I had a realization about with my mom, is I think we both want the same for each other. We both want each other to be happy. And there's all this pressure from a parent to child perspective, child to parent perspective, of trying to make the other happy. But as parents, when we can teach our kids, it is okay to connect with yourself, to love yourself, to be present with yourself. It teaches them that they can too. And something that I really want to say is that I see so many men like yourself who are doing this deep inner work. And it is so important because we've lived in a society that, says, don't cry. Don't have emotions. But also be everything, please.
Exactly.
Provide.
Yeah.
You must provide, and you must not do anything else. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that. And my hope is that, especially here in Virginia Beach, that we can have more men's circles. I have one client that I keep saying, like, I think that you would be great to lead this men's circle.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not going to lead the men's circle.
Sure. Sure. Well, in today's society, you can identify as a man and just do it, right?
I could, but I don't, right? I don't identify as a man.
I know, I'm teasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fun thing is I had an active duty Navy SEAL in my healing office the other day, and he comes every time he comes back from deployment. So
that's great.
Yeah, it is. And
the SEALs are more open to healing modalities than I found than most other branches.
Father Munford down here at the ocean front says that we have to break the curses that are placed upon our warriors because they may not be able to defeat SEAL Team 6, but they could place a curse on that unit or a unit. And then that warrior comes back home and it destroys the family unit from inside out. And I was surprised when he said that.
Yeah.
And Father Munford helped me with a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I think that stands true for the dynamics of the masculine and feminine in all of us, right? Especially if we're looking at, the way that men have to be in this world. They have to show up in a presence of being a warrior. And so it is important that they are taken care of as well, that they are cherished as well, so that they can continue to show up in loving presence.
Absolutely. Well, when Sydney was she was in that zone of wanting to get engaged, and she just said, Daddy, I don't want to have the marriage that you've got. And I remember how that hurt my heart. But the reality is, with the work that I've done, instead of giving her some BS advice, well, you can't trust men, or you see people do that horrible advice, I told her, I said, honey, I said, your mother and I did the best we could.
Yeah.
Your mom is beautiful. She is talented. She is a great mother. But we were both highly unhealed. And you and Abraham have a connection that Mom and I never was able to get to.
Yeah.
And we were able to have a conversation with depth of that level. And she's like, thank you. That made me feel so much better. Just trying to be a better version.
Yeah.
Be a better dad.
Yeah.
And I like being able to do that and being present for her, right?
Yeah.
So.
And being honest. I mean, there's so much vulnerability that you're sharing right now, but that you shared with her, right? That gives her permission to be vulnerable in her own experiences as well, not just with herself, but with Abraham, with her friends, with the rest of her family, with the world.
Sure. And I told her, and I told Abraham too, I said, when her mom and I got married, if you take the 28-year-old Wesley and the 28-year-old Abraham and put them side by side, Abraham's a better man than I was. I was so broken, coming out of the Marine Corps, doing drugs, fighting, getting in trouble with the law. When I found out Sydney was here, I think if Sydney was not born, I probably wouldn't be here today. Well, things were going down. I wasn't always holy and spiritual,
Yeah.
But to be able to sit there and tell that young man that he is a better man than me when we take those two people and put them side by side, because he is more healed than I was. He is more calm than I was. He is more well-rounded than I was. And, I think he really appreciated that. And watching them connect and supporting them, and I think it's going to be beautiful. And since you guys don't listen to the show, I still want grandbabies soon.
Yeah. And opening up room for when there are really crunchy moments, right? When there are times where it doesn't feel as quote unquote beautiful, because we're all humans. And relationships are complex. They just really are. The way that we relate to others is complex.
It's definitely interesting. So Liz,
yes,
if somebody wanted to connect with you, how would they find you?
Yeah, so a good way to do that is to go to my Instagram. It's called With Liz Chandler. My website is kind of under reconstruction at this point, so my Instagram is probably the best. Or if they want to message me, they can. My phone number is 316-272-2720.
Nice. Or you could reach out to the show and I'll connect you with the Liz.
Cool.
And so you have your own space, right? Here in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I do. My office is on Magic Hollow Boulevard, which is like the perfect name for the work that I do.
It's magical, isn't it?
It is. It feels very magical. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was cool. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're an amazing person. You're an amazing healer. I've enjoyed our friendship and watching you grow and change the things that you're working on right now has been really fun to watch. So
thank you, Wes. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you for being on the show this week, and I will talk to you next week.